Thanks for tuning in to the Women's Vibrancy Code, a podcast dedicated to helping women move from exhausted to energized, balance their hormones, and feeling turned on by their life, their lover, and themselves. I'm your host, Maraya Brown. I'm a Yale and functional medicine trained women's health expert, midwife, mom, keynote speaker, and self-made entrepreneur. I'm the founder of my signature program, the Women's Vibrancy Code. So sit back, relax, and let's chat about your energy, hormones, libido, and embracing your feminine power. Oh, and you might want to have pen and paper to take some notes on some of these episodes. Eric, you and I have only had one other one-to-one conversation.
Yes.
And I knew that I knew you from somewhere. I was like, this doesn't happen very often. I know that I know you. And, then we realized after an hour of talking, he was on The Bachelorette, the one season that I happened to have watched. Let me read your bio. And then oh my God, I have stories and I have questions. Okay, Eric Bigger. I didn't even say your name. Welcome to Eric Bigger. Is a multi-talented TV personality, fitness expert, and motivational speaker, dedicated to helping others achieve personal development. Eric also runs an executive coaching business, has authored 3 inspirational books, and is guided by a philosophy he coined called It's Miracle Season, which represents transformation, metamorphosis, and the evolution of mind, body, and spirit. His core areas of focus include advancing financial literacy. He already dropped one padow. Championing mental health, embracing wellness, and helping executives and entrepreneurs develop and scale their businesses. Adept at working with blue chip brands, which I don't even know what that is. I'll ask. Eric has served as both a brand ambassador and also an advancer to C-suite executives, sharing best practices on influencer strategy and diversity, equity, and inclusion. Eric rose to prominence after a starring turn of historic season of ABC's The Bachelorette, and since then has launched a podcast called Bigger's Talks, which my understanding is the podcast is in a transitional phase. I'm curious to learn more there. And appeared on countless shows, including Extra, Access Hollywood, Home and Fitness, Dancing with the Stars, Celebrity Family Feud. Magna cum laude graduate of Hampton University, Eric spent his formative years in Baltimore and moved to LA to pursue his entrepreneurial dreams. Eric, it's nice to have another conversation with you, and this time recorded, and just go at, I'm trusting that whoever's listening to this is already having an exchange and is already engaging and present, and they're going to receive exactly what they need to receive in the midst of this conversation. But the thing that for me is so striking is, Eric, whenever I chime into whatever it is you're putting out, even just reading your bio before we hopped on here, I feel your heart and your vulnerability and your essence. It's like I feel it deep in my body, and I don't even know how to put it into words or describe, but it's literally as though whatever you do, you are like infusing all of you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Do you hear that often?
I don't. I think of lately, I've been really aware of that. I think the thing that's been standing out these last few years, months, is that no matter where I go in the world, people still remember me from the show. Mind you, the show was 6-7 years ago. So I'm always in this space, okay, I know I was on TV. Great. But what was it about me being on TV that left an impact that someone can still remember me? Even if they don't know my name, they remember something about me to make them ask me a question or come up to me. And so I've been lately, the last few months, trying to unpack, okay, I know who I am. I know what I'm here to do. I understand my purpose. I understand my passion. But what imprint am I leaving on people for them to not forget me? Because I'm not intentionally, when I was on the show, saying, oh, you're going to remember me. I'm just being me. I'm showing up the most authentic I can be in those moments, because I've grown so much since then, and really getting to like the root of who am I? What is my purpose here on earth? How can I make it a better place? And how can I
Yeah.
evolve as an individual to make other individuals see themselves the way they see me?
Yep.
And I think
Right.
what TV does is give you visibility and increase your value. But I think the shadow side of TV is that it makes people put you on a pedestal and give their power away when they have the same exact power. They just don't know it.
Yep.
So I'm just a mirror, like whatever you feel you have, and vice versa. So
Yep. And you're real.
yeah,
And for me, you feel authentic and you feel vulnerable and you feel humble and just fully present in whatever it is that you're doing. So when
yeah,
you say you have more clarity in your purpose on this planet and elevating the experience for humankind, really is what I'm hearing. What is that? What is your purpose on the planet in this lifetime? Or maybe for, I don't know, what's your purpose on the
yeah.
planet? Yeah.
The first thing in a moment that comes up is transformation, to help people transform, but to heal, right? Through my
Mhm.
vulnerability, being myself, and showing parts of myself that I don't allow people to see, right? You always see the guy is always smiling, he's always positive, he's always happy, but I'm not always happy. I'm not always positive. I cry, I shed my tears, I have pain points. And this year, honestly, to be transparent, has been a very contrast year, right? And a lot of ebbs and flows, a lot of highs, a lot of lows, where
Mm.
especially people close to me, dealing with people who are really in crisis, dealing with mental health and depression, having, my dad in and out of the hospital, right? And so those moments make me really realize like who I am in those moments, because when you're you, you're just you. You're not thinking about someone else unless it's really happening to them. And I'm like, oh, mental health is real. Like I know it, but to kind of witness it, right? Firsthand, to
Mhm.
see someone having an episodic or panic or anxiety attack, and they're like, and you're there holding space, not really knowing what to do. And you're like, oh, this is a real thing. Seeing my dad in the hospital and he really in tears, he just want to see his son, you know, thank God he's better now. We talked this morning for an hour, we prayed, we conversed. But these moments allow me to open me up more, to say, I need you to open yourself up a little bit more, Eric. I need you to
Yeah.
let the world in just a little bit more. We love the positivity, we love the motivation. Give us a little bit of the shadow you. Give us a little bit so we know that we can relate to you, right? Because I think when you're in the eye of the public, the most meaningful thing you can do is be relatable.
Mhm.
Because relatability allows people to connect. And when you can connect, you can engage. And when you can engage, we all can evolve. But if I put
Yeah.
myself as like, oh, I'm this person, I do these things, this and that, it's like, I hear you. I think you're nice. I think you're cool. You're all positive. Appreciate your energy. But who's the real you? Because social media, you can kind of only you show what you want them to see. So I just been really doing a lot of work this year of going through the ups and downs and understanding, okay,
Mhm.
who am I when I'm not positive? And it's okay if I'm not as pizzazz or lifted. And your energy is different today, Eric. Instead of beating myself up about it, telling myself it's okay. It's
Mhm.
okay that you might not be okay today, but I'm
Mhm.
not giving up, right?
Right.
So just show a little bit more of a side to let people know, like, I struggle too.
Right.
I suffer.
Well, and I'm hearing that you've been holding space for others that are suffering, which
Yeah.
kind of reminds you, I don't know about you, but when I hear from friends, family, clients where, like, I think this last weekend I was helping my sister move and one of my friends was walking down the street and I noticed she had a port in her chest. And she was
Mm.
wearing a scarf. I went, how you doing? She's been struggling with breast cancer for the last year and lost all
Wow.
her hair. And she's my age. Her kids are kids of age of my kids. And it's just like, wow. We have those moments where it's like carpe diem. Am I making the most of today? Like, am I making the most? And so it sounds like you've held support for your dad and support for others, but then also some of your own moments, your own relationships where you're going, I really want to say that at the end of not only the end of my life, but at the end of each day, it's been rich and it's been full, and I've done my best to connect with myself, which and show myself in the world, which helps others connect with me. And then we get to engage, and then we get to evolve. And I'm having the impact that I'm having because I've shown myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And showing myself to myself is what the thing is, right? Because
Mm,
sometimes we hide ourselves from ourselves and we give everybody else the flowers. We don't want to
mm-hmm.
see the leaves that fall. We kind of shove them up under the carpet somewhere. And so it's been revealing to know that when you do something that you know is best, not for you, but for entirety of everyone involved, that you actually heal and evolve more and you don't suffer as much. Because when
Mm-hmm.
you're always holding space, if people are always calling me to get prayer, which is fine, I love to pray, and I'm praying for myself, but then you get to a moment when you're not in the space or the mood to pray, and you're so afraid not to pray, what are you really doing for them? You're really
Mm-hmm.
hurting them if you're not telling them, like, hold on, give me 1 second. I need 30 minutes.
Yep.
But if I'm living in a scarcity mindset or fear mindset because of the space they're in, and I think I have to pray, which is fine, but I'm only setting them up for failure because I'm not giving them my real vulnerability. I'm just giving them what they need so they can be okay. But what
Right.
happens if I'm no longer here and then they're really not okay?
Right.
So it's been revealing to know that telling your truth in a real authentic way uh that you think might hurt them is actually helping them.
Right.
And
And
it's beautiful.
I haven't even read your bio yet. I gotta read your bio. But one of the things I'm hearing is, through my filter is, am I gonna pray for someone? Am I gonna hold space for someone? Am I gonna serve someone? Do I allow myself to take a pause and go, okay, wait a minute. If I'm gonna give, is my cup full? Do I take a pause like before this interview? Do I go fill up my water before I sit down? As a mom,
Yeah.
am I gonna get my things, my water and my book together before I sit down to breastfeed? If I'm gonna go pour into someone, even though I know they need it. I know they need all of me, and I will give them all of me. But I get to also give them the example that I set some boundaries and I fill up first so that
Yeah.
they're receiving from a filled up place. And then what I'm
Mm-hmm.
hearing is they receive more when you filled up first. And then you've given them permission to do the same when you're not around anymore. Like,
And yeah,
yeah.
and I teach them how to be there for themselves. It's like in a relationship, if you're in a relationship with someone, a partnership, whatever it is, and they're having their struggles, you're having your struggles, and you're letting them know that, okay, this can no longer happen. You need to take your space. I'm gonna take my space. And so it goes, you giving up on me, you don't love me? Like, no, I love you. You don't love you. You're giving up
Mm,
on you. So you want me to love you and not give up on you, but you're already not loving you and giving up on you. So what that is creating is a situation on the back end that is both going to be bad because I'm holding on to not telling the truth because I don't want to hurt you because of my filter or perspective. Where actually I'm helping you so you can find you and love parts of you that I can't teach you to do. And when you come back, you're that much more full and you understand. I
oh
was
my
talking to a
gosh.
friend where I got to this deep analysis of, and it's all people pleasing. It's all me not creating boundaries in my life, feeling I'm the savior, everyone needs me, right? And then I say, what if a person doesn't need you? Who are you? And I said, interesting. So I was like, if somebody needs $2,000, they really need it. Say you need 2,000, you really need it. You got to pay your bills, and you're like, and then my mind, I'm like, oh my God, I have it, but I don't really have it to give it like I want to. But the normal me would give them the money because they really need it. So spirit says, now, if you give the money and they take it, great. Their problem is solved. Great, they run away. So what I realized, like, if I don't give them the money, whatever that situation is, they learn even more wisdom and understanding how to depend on something greater. And then with that wisdom and understanding, because they're part of my world, they can give me something that's greater in me that I don't know from the information that they're experiencing. And I'm able to give them 20,000 when they're not even asking for it. right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we shortchange ourselves because we got to be the savior for the people we love, we shortchange our purpose in our life that we're supposed to have.
Mm-hmm.
So if the baby has a pacifier and it keeps dropping and you keep putting it back in his mouth and it's like, okay, the third time they do it, you keep doing it, you're not teaching them anything. They say, okay, this on you now. Cry, figure it out.
Get a
Now,
clip it to their
right,
shirt.
right. So now you're teaching them how to show up for themselves without you being a part of that process. And now they can show up for you in ways that you can't show up for you without you thinking or asking about it.
Right.
So
So,
it's
yeah.
amazing how we let fear control our behavior, but actually that fear is really faith reverse if you just say no and don't
Mm-hmm.
do what you always done for the people you love.
Mm-hmm. Teach them to fish, let them go fish, and then give them 20,000 when they're not expecting it rather than two. I love it. Okay. When you were talking about, not giving someone the 2,000,
Yeah.
I remember in high school, um, I was one of those where, I was the president of everything and always had a job since sixth grade. And on everyone would have thought that everything was spectacular, and behind closed doors, it was divorce after divorce after divorce with parents and a lot of insecurity. And I struggled with eating disorders. Okay, there's a reason I'm bringing this up. I didn't date a whole lot. I was always a homecoming princess. I always ended up going to the dances, but asked last, blah, blah, blah. And then I ended up finally dating someone that I really liked. I want to say this is like my junior year in high school. He was in college, and I really liked him a lot. And we were having fun together. And then at one point, he said, "I can't date you anymore." And I went, "Why?" And he had found out that I was struggling with eating disorders. And he said, "This is too much for me. Your sadness and your angst," those are my words, but whatever it was for him, it was simply too much. And that was hard. But I'll tell you, in that moment, there had been others that had said, "Please stop. Please stop." Oh, yeah, 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 I'll stop. Like, right, I'm going to stop whatever my patterns, my self-destruction, because they wanted me to. No.
Mm-hmm.
That tough love of him saying, "This isn't going to work," I had to really see myself. And
Mm-hmm.
I lost someone that I loved and cared about in a way, and I had let him in a way that I had never let someone in. And so when you're sharing this example, I go, I remember that moment. It was the first time where I really saw the impact that I was having on myself from the
Mm-hmm.
decisions that I was making. And it was the first time when I was like, okay, this isn't going to work. This needs to change for my well-being because I'm hurting myself.
Mm-hmm.
Not I'm going
And
to
you're
change.
hurting, and
Yeah,
you're
go
hurting the
ahead.
person you love, right?
Hurting the
Because
person
now
I
you're
love.
putting the pain on him and it's not helping him to be the person he need to be for you to serve in this relationship in a way that's alignment for both of you. And it's tough because somebody got to give you the truth. And I call it the shadow parts of love that we don't talk about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this the tough side, the sad side. But
Right.
it shaped you because that emotional impact and shifted your paradigm and probably reprogram your subconscious about, okay, I need to figure this out. Because I just
Yeah.
pushed someone away because I was stubborn about what I needed to get help on or assistance in.
Yeah.
So
And he
that's
could have
it.
easily just not called me back or said, I'm in love with someone else. But he gave me the truth.
Yeah.
And the truth, as hard as it was, was exactly what I needed to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'm hearing from you is you're on this journey of becoming even more big and bold with how much you show yourself
Mm-hmm.
so that you can more deeply connect with people
Yeah.
so that there's engagement and then they can evolve because they've leaned in and they've shown themselves to you and there's a trust
Right.
there where you can give them that big bold honesty
Mm-hmm.
that has the impact. So I'm curious, in general, who are some of your clients? What are some examples of ways in which that has transpired, where you have enough mutual love and engagement where you can drop a truth bomb that might be hard, but it's coming from love and creating impact?
I think, I mean, well, some way, somehow, the universe has designed for me to always have CEOs as clients. Not by design, not intentional. I'm always attracting pretty well off CEOs, C-suite executives. And what I've discovered, the pattern that comes is that these people really good at scaling their business. They're so good. Their identity is their business. They're really not good at scaling themselves, understanding themselves to regulate and control themselves, and have a high EQ about themselves if it's not attached to the business. So what happens is, if the business is done or the business is not around, who are you? I had to tell a client, they do probably maybe a $500 million in sales. They do numbers. And I was telling this client, I said, I hear you. I think the numbers are great. You're really good at executing, but I don't want your business to outlive you at an early age, because you're stressing your whole body out, because you're overdoing and overbeing, because you want to control everything, which I get, but that's not healthy or fulfilling, right? For the back end of your life and your career or your family. But if I just was, it's okay because this person makes all this money, they're paying me, and I'm not giving them that, I'm failing them, even if they don't like my truth, right? But they always have to think, the thing about the truth is, it doesn't need support. Doesn't need support. The truth don't need support. It's going to penetrate in a way where they're either going to be uncomfortable, they're not going to like it, or they're going to embrace it and they're going to love it. And they might not even want to coach or train with you again, but they're going to respect what you told them, just like you had in your past junior high or high school relationship that made you wake up, because somebody has to give you the truth. Yeah. So what I do with my C-suite exec is, like, when they come to me, I said, give me everything. Do not polish it up. I want the dark moments. I want it all. Tell me everything. Just get it out. How did that make you feel? Did it make you hate that person? Were you angry at investors? Did this person want, whatever it is, get it out. You can't be a statue for me because I'm your mirror. I played that game. Hey guys, I'm great. It's miracle season. But really inside, I'm sad because I don't know how to set boundaries, because I don't want someone to leave me because of my emotional abandonment wound, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm only connecting with people who are just like me in a different way. But because I have the information and awareness, I can point it out and unpack it with them to let them know, listen, this is going to hurt you more than it serve you. So I need you, while you're with me, let the cat out the bag and let's talk about it.
Yep. And because you're doing your own work, you then can show up with the confidence, like, ooh, because others might go, who am I? I'm not making $500 million a year. Who am I to call them out on their crap? And you come through that lens of foundational health and helping them with their body movement. Wow, right? And
so I have a vertical in my business that is fitness based, where it's movement, and then I have where it's just mental, right? It's just one-on-one, like you and I. But it all works all together. And it's like, and then some of the clients that don't train physically, one of the clients, their sales increased because I told them, you have a trainer, you need to invest 30 minutes. They're only investing 20. They invested 10 more minutes, 4 days a week, in their business scale. Just adding 10 more minutes, right?
Of body movement.
The body movement. That's it. Yeah. You know, so it's fascinating. I was at a client's house yesterday, and I kind of went through that's what I said, it's been a tough year, dark night of the soul, having a spiritual depression and evolution, and you killing the ego death. Like, I've been going through that. And my client, I saw him yesterday and I said, hey, how you doing? What's going on? He's like, oh man, yesterday was tough. I said, what happened? I said, life? He's like, oh, life is great. I mean, he got Ferrari, Bentleys, Phantoms, all in his garage, but he's like, I'm in my head. I can't get out of it, right? Like, but yet this man has everything. Mm-hmm. So it makes me realize that people listening or watching, do not be fooled by what you see. Don't let the 3D world control what you think it is, because it's not the same for everybody. The most important thing is the things we can't see that we might give too much energy to, our thoughts or perception of things. And we're all going through some type of challenge. It's just, how do we get through it and be vulnerable like I'm doing, so we all can have assistance in that way, so we can all benefit. And I
Mm-hmm.
think people just need to feel comfortable and safe in your presence. And I think that's what I've done really good at, is making people feel safe, no matter age, background. And they just tell me, and it's like, it's okay, let it out.
Right. Everybody
So
poops.
everybody poops. There we go. Let
Everybody
it,
poops.
yeah, I love that.
So you went through what sounds like a pretty hard year. I haven't asked any specifics. I'm curious if you're
Yeah.
open to sharing any specifics of what made the year so hard and what you did personally. Well, are you still in
Well,
it, or
I
are you on
think
the other
I'm
end?
kind of, I think I'm really on the other end, but kind of like understanding this, the higher version of myself.
Mm-hmm.
So the previous version was, i.e., the public success, the books, the commercials, the TV shows, this charming, handsome, attractive, fulfilling, lifted, gifted guy, which is great. I'm not attached to him no more. I'm not him, because that guy was putting on a mask and playing characters to appeal to an audience,
Mm-hmm.
which worked because that was part of the job or profession. However, he wasn't taking the mask off and revealing his true self to himself or the people around him enough to be a complete person. So this year was my personal year one. Does anybody know about numerology? You would add your birthday and your month plus 2023. So I'm in my personal year one. So this is like a fresh start. I feel like I'm in a new energy, a new vibration. So the beginning of the year, I just felt different energetically, right? And I was literally going through an ego death. Like what my soul, like my energy healer was telling me, is like, yeah, your soul is like capped. Like that soul of that old person is like dead. Like it's done. And I know, I knew. I'm like, I can't be this person anymore. I can't fake it. I can't act like everything's cool. Nothing's funny. Nothing is positive. I'm angry. I'm upset. I'm frustrated. So what was happening was, when you go through a dark night of the soul, I'm sorry, when you go through a dark night of the soul, all my unconscious trauma and pain and programming was coming to the surface. So all my childhood stuff that I didn't, meet head on, my shadow self was in my face, and it was smacking me. Like, yeah, you're not
Mm-hmm.
going to say no? Oh, you're not going to stand up for yourself? Oh, throat chakra. Oh, okay, we're gonna cause some pain until you really stand up for yourself. And it only happened in moments when I had to tell somebody I really love and care about, whether it's a friend, a relationship, a family member. Like, that's when it was tough. When I loved somebody really hard, right? I was afraid to tell them the truth because I don't want them to leave me, because emotional abandonment wound from the childhood. I do
Mm-hmm.
everything so you can love me and like me so you don't leave me. But if I'm not that person, I'm afraid you're going to leave me. But we just said, when I am that person, you don't leave me, you leave you to come find yourself, and then we can be together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just have to be a more complete person for myself, but for the world I'm here to serve. I can't just be all sunshine and no nighttime. It's like, come on, brother, you're not just one person. Give us that
Mm-hmm.
other side. And so I've been realizing, and with my dad and then out the hospital, like it really woke me up. Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
your dad is in the hospital. Like I'm talking about 4 or 5 times in like 2 weeks. Right before I went to
Mm-hmm.
France, my dad is in the hospital. I'm flying home, and I realized something. I said, there's no money, there's no gifts that you can do. Spirit's like, all I need you to do is pray and be present. I don't need you to give nobody no advice. I don't need you to give your perspective or your opinion. I need you to be present and pray and shut up.
Right.
And that's all I did. And things started manifesting for the better.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so I'm hearing you've got fame. You work with clients that have great amounts of money.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, our shadows are always there. That childhood stuff is going to come up. And so for you, this year is the year of ego death and dark night of the soul. And to be able to go, no matter the fame, no matter the money, I'm still left with me. And so there's numerology and there's energy work and there's personal development. And it sounds like what I'm hearing is you just went, I just got to be me. I got to
Yeah.
be more fully me, specifically with those that are close and the love me, like me, and don't leave me, to look that story hard and go, okay, how do I let that go and choose a new pattern, choose a new story?
Mm-hmm. And not be afraid of the outcome.
Not be afraid of the outcome.
because I was trying to
Mm-hmm.
control it for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
do it no more. It's too much energy.
Yeah. And so now in your love life
Yeah.
or in your relationships with people, I don't know if I want to, we can go to your love life. I feel like so much of your love life has been out in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
we can give that a pause, but unless you want to go there, but in the relationships that you have where you feel
Yeah.
like you've really let someone in
Yeah.
and you really love them, how do you think you're actively taking steps to break those patterns and let go of the fear of them leaving?
Just telling them the truth. It's that simple. Like I've made it so complex because of my pain points from, and this is like love life, family, it's everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I came in contact with that was very triggering for me was that I'm tired of trying to make everybody happy and I'm not happy. I'm
Yeah.
tired of it. And so
Yeah.
what I was doing was anytime someone need me that loved me and cared for me or I cared or loved for, I drop in everything. So if you called me right now and I'm on this interview and I really love you, I'll pick up my phone and think I got to text you back right away because I gotta be real. I gotta be, I'm so vulnerable. I'm gonna communicate. Like, no, they can wait 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to unpack where's this fear coming from that I can't tell them no? What is this fear coming from that they can't wait? What is this fear coming from that I'm busy right now? Where is that coming from? I said,
Yeah.
oh, that's the little boy in me that don't want to be abandoned. Oh, that's bad. So what I'm really doing is I'm actually setting them up for failure because I'm
Mm-hmm.
giving them parts of myself that's only a part of me and not my
Mm-hmm.
complete self. So now I'm teaching them and programming and conditioning them to be this way because this is how Eric show up. I said, no, that's a part of Eric. That's not the complete Eric.
Mm-hmm.
Eric doesn't feel like showing up today. Eric doesn't want to talk today. Eric doesn't have anything to give today. And that's okay. But I didn't think it was okay to show that side because people always need me.
Mm-hmm.
Or I made myself available to make people think they need me. It's a pattern. I want to keep my pattern alive so I can be loved and accepted.
Right.
So now you
But you
just
love
this is
me, but you love me. Don't you
right,
love
right,
me?
right,
Don't
right,
you love
right,
me?
right. So it's been amazing. I mean, it's been tough, but at the same time, it's healing and rewarding because it was that simple. I just made it complex because of fear. And
Mm-hmm.
fear only comes when you don't have faith. So
Yeah.
now I have more faith and I trust in something that at the end of the day, no one's in control. I couldn't control that we were going to do this interview today, right? But we've been trying to get on a interview for probably 6 months.
Yeah. I know for those listening, I think I reached out last night. I was like, how about tomorrow?
Yeah.
Let's
And
go.
here we
Even
are.
when I was in LA, we tried to meet up in LA and that didn't work. And now
Yeah.
here we are. Um, okay, so I heard you say the truth, and my
Yeah.
guess is the deciphering difference is so often we say what we think is their truth or the
Yeah.
truth that they want to hear, but really it's you allowing yourself to tell your truth.
Yes.
And then that there's no fear when there's faith.
Yeah. There's no fear. I had my mom say something to me a few weeks ago. She's like, son, don't say that. I said, Mom, that's the problem. I never say anything. I always take the high road. I'm always the bigger person. I'm always the one. I'm just cool. It's cool. Mom, I'm done. It's not cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's balance, right? Yin, yang. So if I'm giving all this yang and no yin, then there's no me. That's just a character I'm portraying. Now I'm failing everybody. And so I've always been the one who did what everyone should do all the time, even when I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
It's like it's
Yeah.
enough of that. Like, no, I'm mad, I'm upset. Now
Right.
you get to feel what Eric feels like when he's not happy. Oh,
Right.
you've never seen that, so it's what's wrong? You okay? No, I'm not. You right? Because I only let you see me when I'm okay. Like it's just
Yeah.
beautiful, but I'm just thankful for information and wisdom because it
Yeah.
opens you up.
And that little boy that was afraid of abandonment, so always did what he was supposed to do and said what everybody liked and showed up as the happy kid. And now you're saying, um, I love you. If you leave, I'll let you go. But I'm going to show myself and I'm going to tell my truth, trusting that you're going to stay because you love me and you want to see all of me.
And even if you don't stay, it's okay. I still love you. You can't change my
Yeah.
feelings for you, no matter who you are, what you do. I'm always, because now I'm giving you the real me. And so by me giving the real me, you have to be the real you.
Yeah.
Because the fact that you're dependent on me to fill you up when you feel low, you're not loving yourself enough. And then I'm not loving myself enough because I'm not telling you the truth. So we're
Hmm.
just,
Right.
right?
And we all have it, no matter how
Yeah.
much money, how much fame, how many degrees, what
Yeah.
gender, what age, we all have a childhood. We all have
Yeah.
a mom and a dad in some way, and
Absolutely.
it's playing out. And so if fear goes away in the context of faith, how does someone know if they have faith? I mean, I have my own ideas, but what does faith feel like? What does faith look like for you?
Faith is, there's no question marks. I don't even have to question anything. And the faith is not believing, faith is knowing. I don't believe, I know you're going to be okay.
Hmm.
Even when someone's in the midst of crying and in pain, it's going to be okay. How? Watch. I know. Because this decision is bigger than you and me. This is for the greater good of all of us. So, what faith looks like in my mind is not really a look, it's a feeling. It's like when you book that trip to go to France or you go to Cabo, you got faith when it's booked, you're going. You're not
Right.
thinking about 3 months or 3 weeks from now. I'm going. That's faith. You don't have to think about it. Or I don't have to think about what to do when I go in the gym. I've been going to the gym most of my life. So it just happens, right? The best things in life or the best things we do, we don't think about it because we got so much faith in it.
Right.
You've been a mom. You don't have to think about being a mom. You don't question if you're a mom. You don't have to, I believe I'm a mom. No, I know I'm a mom. There's
Right.
no question mark.
There's
That
no
is a
question.
feeling. So when there's no question, that is faith. There's a feeling that comes with that. That's a knowing that it's just like, huh? Yeah,
You just
I'm
know.
Eric. You just know.
Yeah. I use the example of I take a deep breath in, I know oxygen is coming in. I sit down on a chair, I know the chair is going to hold me. I turn the water spout on in my sink, I know water's coming. It's just like it's not a question.
Right. Good question.
And I don't fear whether or not I'm going to have water. I don't fear whether or not I'm going to have oxygen. Now, in my scenario, do I fear? I mean, there's all sorts of things I fear. I'm still growing in my faith that my children are always going to be okay. Whew.
Yeah.
Like, of course, life's not happening to me. It's happening for me and by me. It's the same thing for my children. But boy, oh boy.
Yeah. It comes. It's like when I'm training someone, their fear is because they don't have faith, because they don't have no practice or activation in the thing they fear. I don't have fear about running 3 miles because I already put in my faith muscle from running every day. So
Hmm.
when a race comes, I'm not thinking if I'm going to be tired. I know I'm not.
Right.
So faith comes also from the reps. You know, they also say faith comes from hearing. And so there's things we're faithful about that we don't think about. And there's things we're fearful in because of experience of lack or limitation. And that's why if I knew everything and you knew everything, there would be no purpose to serve. I'm not supposed to know everything. I have to have some type of lack and something to get help in, and
Yeah.
vice versa. So I think it's just you're just a feeling.
Totally. And whatever problem is arising, there would be no problem because if we knew everything, we would have known how to fix it. But like how spectacular that we butt up against challenges and things that we wish were different. And we don't currently have the conscious skill set because if we did, it wouldn't have been there, but it's there. And so we get to have faith that we will, for me, I get to make decisions today based on the version of me that I'm becoming
Yeah.
and have faith that it will come. And that future version of me is going to figure it out and I'll hire a coach. I'll bring in someone like you.
Yeah.
I'll bring in support. I'll up level my nutrition. I'll work more on my physical activity and my confidence. And it's going to happen. That future version of me, I allow myself to see it and have faith that it's inevitable. It's done.
It's done. And then
It's
that person, that future self, you might not even know what you're gonna be, because there might be more stuff that you have to go through to even be more than the person you saw
right,
or you
right.
see.
Yeah.
And it's been very interesting to know that the worst things in life sometimes are the best things in life, because
Mm.
those things give us life. So, you know, I have, a friend in Baltimore that has several kids, and they wasn't ready when they had kids, but they were so discombobulated and all over the places for kids, but those kids gave them life, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Without those kids, there's no life. And if you look at YouTube or social media or just mass media, all they're doing is making money off of other people's lives who have something going on. So more times out of 10, if you have something going on, good or bad, is giving you life, right? And
Yeah.
if you don't, you're even talking about the people who have something going on, because that's how life is set up. So whether you're married, you're rich, you're poor, you're whatever, some part of your life is giving you life to keep going. And
Mm-hmm.
I think the world is set up for us to go through challenges and changes so we can decide, okay, who do I want to become and where am I going? And that's why I think the faith muscle is so important. So you can have a little bit more of, not even peace, peace is not the word, some type of okay about where you're going. If you have just enough faith, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and sometimes people don't. And I think that's what we lack in this world that we're living in some cases, is spiritual currency. That's the
Mm-hmm.
real currency. That's the new currency that need to be imprinted. Because as we discussed, there's people with tons of money, but they don't feel the way it looks in a bank account.
They feel alone. They lack confidence. They're
Yeah.
longing for more. Yeah. And and I don't think people should do it alone. So they bring in people like you and they hire you, and they bring in people like me and they hire me, because they say, if I make decisions based on where I am, I'm going to end up where I am. If I make decisions based on where I want to be, I'm going to end up where I want to be. And where does the support come from? How
Yeah.
do I surround myself with a community that also has faith? And we get to build in one another's faith
Yeah.
and bring in others that can help me see and help me grow and give me some of the foundational skill set. It sounds like you're offering skill set in regard to health and
Yeah.
fitness and mindset and belief and your own personal reflection and journey and your own faith, so that you can help them instill their own version of it,
Yeah.
and really show, like, behind the fame, behind the wealth, behind the fancy cars and the mansions and the flights,
Hmm.
everybody wants to be heard, seen, and understood.
And we all experience pain.
Yeah.
Deep. It's all relatable. It's all
Yeah.
relative.
Yeah.
They say the challenges are different, but the emotions are the same.
Mm-hmm. And you're willing to look at your own demons so that you have the confidence to be there and be their mirror and show and call them out on their stuff, so to speak,
Hmm.
to help them along their journey of actually achieving and feeling the way that they want to feel without being intimidated by their fame or their money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Okay. So for those that are listening, um, how how would you say, what is it that you provide in the world? How would you want them, if they're leaning in and curious and want to consume more of what you're putting down, they want to explore hiring you for support, who is it that you serve? What does it look like for people to consume more of your content? And what's going on with the podcast?
Yeah, so that's a great question, because those are things I've been, as I'm going through this ego death phase, trying to understand who am I, what am I in this space. I'm a lot of things, right? To a lot of people who know me, who might not know me, who might see me. But in my evolution, I'm the person who offers perspective, right? Awareness, accountability, information to better your situation, i.e., if it's personal training, mindset coaching, TV, podcasts, right? I'm giving you perspective. I'm giving you emotional, spiritual, mental awareness. I'm holding you accountable without being your coach. It says, how many people woke up today and say that they love themselves despite
Mm-hmm.
what they have or don't have, right? What are
Mm-hmm.
you grateful for? Or what is one thing you love about yourself? Because we're so good at saying what we don't love about ourselves. So what I offer is, like I said, perspective, awareness, accountability, space, and understanding for a person to better understand themselves through coaching, one-on-one coaching, mindset and life coaching, to personal training, whether it's in person or virtual. And then, I have podcasts, I have books, I have courses. I just released a numerology course. Your numbers can change your life. So everything I'm doing is getting you to open up the book of you, right? In whatever form you want to understand that your book and your chapters are just as important as mine or the people you look up to.
Mm-hmm.
And so with the podcast, Bigger Talks, it's all about having conversations like this, of bigger talks, conversation about all things, life, religion, sex, politics, transparency, vulnerability, mental health, diversity, all these things that we might be afraid to talk about, or we're just not programmed to talk about because you shouldn't say that.
Sounds like you
There's
need me
this,
on your podcast.
yeah. So you're gonna be on a podcast. I actually did shot an
Yeah.
episode yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And it was about rediscovering your life. But what I'm understanding is my pivot in my podcast is just I had a company that just signed me to help me scale my podcast because I was doing everything on my own. And I got in this space was like, I'm tired of doing everything on my own. I want some support. I want some help. I want some direction. And so you're gonna be on a podcast. It don't even, it's done. It's done. And so the podcast is there to give people a voice, a ear, and an understanding that you can be your complete self and do your thing and it's okay.
Yeah.
So Bigger
Yeah.
Talks, download it, subscribe it. It's available on all platforms, and Instagram, Eric Bigger. And I just want the world to be better through my lens, if I can. I
Yeah.
just want to really live my purpose and my mission, because what I did do is chase my dreams. And by me chasing my dreams, I fulfilled some of those dreams. And then I realized, like, oh, that dream doesn't feel the way I thought it would feel before I had it. So this is not what it looks like.
Yep.
So
Your
I'm
dreams
telling
get to
people,
change.
right. So now there's another dream with my name on it that's more fulfilling, and it's not success. Success is getting what you want. Fulfillment is doing what you're made for. So that's the next level for me.
Mm.
Yeah.
I have my own version of that that's currently bubbling as well. I haven't announced it publicly yet,
Mm-hmm.
but just to perpetually allow ourselves to change our dreams,
Yeah.
allow ourselves to up level and make the fulfillment be even bigger and different and profound. So Bigger Talks podcast, coaching and personal training. I'm guessing that's predominantly kind of higher price ticket for executives, CEOs, both
Yeah.
virtual and in person.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
Hmm. And then the Instagram, I'll make sure in the podcast we get all the links for your Instagram and
Yeah.
and website, the course on numerology, and then what are the names of the books?
So the books, one book is 100 Days of Wisdom, 100 Quotes to Live a More Inspired Life. My workbook is Transformation, Change Your Mindset, Change Your Energy, Change Your Life. It's a 4-week workbook that gives you the tools to transform your life and reclaim your power in 28 days. And then I also have a course attached to 100 Days of Wisdom, numerology course. And I got another book coming out, not sure when, but these tools you can use at your own time. And I just want the world to be better. I don't like, God has given me enough acknowledgement and attention and fame to know, like, that's great, but it's not meaningful if you're not sharing it or giving it to people where all people can benefit from
Yeah.
your dream. And it's Miracle Season merch, I have, that as well. So I'm
Yeah.
just here to just live and do what I'm made for. And I'm just happy to have this interview on your podcast. Thank you for the opportunity and the great questions, and for allowing me to speak my truth. And hopefully this impacts, heals, and evolve a person that's listening.
Absolutely. And I'll make sure to get all the links to all the things so that way they can
Yes.
get the course and get the books and whatever it may be. I am so grateful for who you are in the world. And not just what you do, but how you do it.
Yeah.
Even though we only know each other virtually, like I said at the beginning, I feel you. I feel you in the cells of my body, and it's a lot of love. And so I
Yeah.
appreciate you. Thanks for listening on the Women's Vibrancy Code podcast. Eric Bigger today. Reach out to him. Find him on all the platforms. He's doing good in the world, and we all can do good in the world with our own version, particularly when we share our own truth and we allow ourselves to be seen and heard and understand based on what we put out in the world and what we allow ourselves to receive. So big gratitude to you and big gratitude to Eric.